Part 8? God damn.
Good evening. We welcome in viewers from across our province tonight. After 2 days of holding out hope for Haley, we have the worst possible outcome.
Given the overwhelming evidence in this case, the videotaped confessions, I kept wondering, why would he possibly plead not guilty to these 3 murders? And after sitting in that courtroom for so long, you have a theory on that.
By any standards of human disclosure, a criminal confession can never truly be called voluntary. With rare exception, a confession is compelled, provoked, and manipulated from a suspect by an individual who has been trained in a genuinely deceitful art. That is the essence of interrogation, and those who believe that a straightforward conversation between a cop and criminal devoid of
Pretty sure each interrogation is considered a part. Can't remember because I unsubbed to his Patreon because he told us to. Dude, what's up with JCS? Why did he like tell people to unsub from his Patreon and like take down a lot of his videos and stuff? I am actually very, very confused. Really interesting. He didn't tell people to unsub his Patreons or streaming service as much as the content was too graphic for YouTube. He got tired of fighting the constant deleting of his videos. Oh, okay. Oh, you scared the... Oh my god. I didn't even notice that you were behind me. Oh my god, that was so scary. Oh my god. Oh my god. I thought, okay, murder is happening here. Okay. I was like, damn. It's popping off here. I'm about to get murdered. I guess I'm dead now, you know? Okay. Thank you, Mom.
of any treachery can solve a crime are somewhere beyond naive. If the interrogation process is from a moral standpoint contemptible, it is nonetheless essential. Deprived of the ability to question and confront suspects and witnesses, a detective is left with just the physical evidence, and in many cases, precious little of that. Without a chance for a detective to manipulate a suspect's mind, a lot of dangerous people would simply go free. A perfect example is the interrogation of Derek Soretsky, a 24-year-old Alberta native who is suspected of 1 count of murder and 1 count of first-degree kidnapping at the time of his interrogation. On the morning of September 14th, 2015, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police received a call from Bill Blanchett reporting the death of his 20-year-old son, Terry, and the disappearance of his 2-year-old granddaughter, Haley. Terry had suffered over 30 blunt force injuries, had his throat slit, and had been stabbed over a dozen times. Police canvassed the entire neighborhood in search of the missing toddler and gathered intel from the neighbors that suggested the incident took place at around 3:30 a.m. Surveillance footage was checked and revealed only a handful of vehicles were in the area during that time period, one of which being the van belonging to the...
Wait, hold on. Let me scan this real quick. Because there might be some blood. 156 is where we're at. It doesn't seem like it. I think it's, the rest of it seems like it's just interrogations. Okay. Wait, there's one more like...
Larry Soretsky. The police arrived at the business's residence and found nothing. They then searched the
I don't know if this is like there's blood here.
small apartment attached to the side of the establishment where the owner's son, Derek Soretsky, lived. A single piece of physical evidence was discovered, giving authorities probable cause for arrest. They found a notepad in his bedside drawer with the names Shy Terry and The Hideous Baby crossed out. Forensics were unable to uncover any further clues linking him to the 2 victims. The only DNA found at the residence was of the suspect. From initial observation, the note would appear as exceedingly potentially damning evidence when submitted in a court of law. Yet this type of averment would be easily invalidated by a defense team. The fact that the note was discovered nearly 24 hours after the crime was reported on the local news would give a defense advocate the grounds to argue that the suspect was simply transmitting what he saw on the TV into printed composition. This could have been done for a multitude of purposes, including reminding himself to keep a lookout for the missing child, or attending the funeral of the murder victim. Implausible, but not.
Yeah, dude. You know, the hideous baby that was just murdered.
Not impossible. The police would have been fully aware that they needed a full confession to avoid the indignation of future plea deals, or the very real possibility of the suspect being found not guilty. A homicide investigation team will make every effort to gain as much information as possible on the suspect in the short window they have between their initial detainment and their interrogation. This will include cursory interviews with friends, family, and acquaintances, as well as social media activity and previous convictions. Derek had no criminal record and almost no social media presence, yet through his father and co-workers' testimony, the police quickly discovered that the suspect was a highly reclusive individual with very few friends and suffered from bipolar type 2 disorder. Suspects with depressive disorders are more susceptible than the average person to the amiable disposition a detective will often put forward during a questioning procedure. The reasoning behind this concept is that the less endearment and affection an individual is customary to in their everyday life, the more reactive they will be to those same sentiments inside an interrogation room. The heightened anxiety levels during a confrontational procedure can also influence their impressionability, making them predisposed to giving an investigator the information they want. The Crownist Pass Police Department only released part of the interrogation tape into the public domain at the request of multiple media outlets. The footage that was broadcast begins at the final stages of the interrogation, where the detective appears to have laid out most of the groundwork in terms of building rapport and interconnection with the suspect. This is made evident by the breach of personal space, the soft-spoken tone of the officer, and the continuous reassurance given to the suspect with both verbal and non-verbal communication.
Don't let her be alone. Be a hero for her. Be a hero, buddy. Let this community know that you're a hero, not a monster. Is she alive, Derek, or is she dead?
Is this Jim Smith? It looks like Jim Smith. It's really blurry, but it do be looking like Jim Smith's hairline.
Look at me. Is she alive?
She's not alive.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Where is she, buddy? Where is she?
The devil made me turn her to ashes.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. That's okay. Is it in the bush where you burnt her? Is that where she died?
Yeah, it's in the bush.
How'd you kill her?
I choked her.
Okay. Okay?
Just like he choked me.
Yeah.
In an earlier part of the interrogation that wasn't released, the suspect described how the devil would choke him in his sleep every morning before he woke up. This is most likely what he is referring to.
Did she suffer?
A little bit.
A little bit?
He told me to save myself on my own. He said I had to teach them the soul searching.
He said killing her would save you?
So he says what he did.
Derek continuously makes references to the messages he supposedly received from the devil in a cryptic manner. The detective acknowledges the statements, yet doesn't inquire further as to not alter the verbal path of his current admittance. If he ceases his ongoing avowal and goes off on a separate tangent, it may be hard to bring him back to his confessive dialogue.
How did you choke her?
I can't tell if this is like, if he's faking it or if he actually is like, if he actually was like schizophrenic or something. Now, the reason why I say this is because like The devil thing that he's talking about, like, people don't know this, but like, it could literally be gas. I know I've talked about this before. I'm not making a joke. Okay? But sometimes when you're really gassy and you fall asleep, like, the feelings that you have, like you're being choked in your fucking sleep. No, gas, like not carbon monoxide. Like a fart. I swear to God, the gas like pushes your fucking heart or something. I don't know what it is. It's like hard to fucking breathe. It gets hard to breathe. And then you feel like, wow, I really fucked this up. But like, he could also have like sleep apnea or something. Yeah, exactly. That is another thing. When you have sleep apnea or when you have indigestion, it literally feels like you can't breathe in your dreams and stuff. Well, I guess with sleep apnea, you don't even dream at all. But like that's where a night terror like that comes from. You need to see a doctor. It doesn't happen to me regularly or at all. It like happens like once a year. If I like, you know, eat like shit and then I just have like, I don't know. It also used to happen to me with anxiety. In the beginning where in the beginning of COVID, I was so anxious all the time that I would constantly be monitoring my breathing. Like, can I take deep breaths? Can I still take deep breaths? And I feel like in the mornings, I would feel like I was like dying, like choking in my dreams. And I kept dreaming that I couldn't breathe. And I think it was just like the anxiety from COVID. Anyway. I know.
Where'd you get the shoelace?
I don't know where I got it from. I just had it in one of the bags.
Did you cut her before you choked her to death, or did you cut her after?
I choked her first.
So she was dead when you cut her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel terrible. Yeah.
I understand, but you're doing a great job, so you should start to feel better. This should be healing for you. Did you...
Should be. Probably won't be.
No, it will
Still
be.
won't get me to where I want to be.
It's a start, but it's the first day of the rest of your life. What did you cut of hers?
What was that? What did I cut her with?
What did you cut of hers? Like what part of her did you cut? It's just to understand. It's not to judge.
Arms.
Tell me about it.
Waist.
You cut them off?
I ate a little bit of her heart.
You ate a bit of her heart?
What the
Try
fuck?
to strengthen mine.
And how did that make you
I
feel?
drank a bit of her blood to try to strengthen me.
And how did that make you feel?
A little bit stronger.
Yeah.
I spilled all over my
strength to tell the truth today.
It did make me strong.
It did?
For a bit. Just a little bit.
What did the devil say when... Why did the devil tell you to kill Terry?
I don't think this dude's faking it, bro.
The terrible father.
So what did you use to kill Terry?
Use a knife.
A knife?
Yeah.
What kind of knife? Can you describe it, please?
Bro, people keep saying, yeah, he has bipolar. Okay, guys. Do you not know what bipolar is? Like some of you literally are just like, oh, he has bipolar. Oh, okay. I didn't realize when you're bipolar, you eat hearts, bro. Like, I'm just going to let you know, maybe you don't understand how being bipolar works. But this is not how it works, okay? You have like manic states and you have depressive states. The more deadly part is actually the depressive state. What he's talking about is like literally, what he's talking about is way beyond bipolar. It feels like it's some other shit's going on.
It was just a normal, unserrated knife. It's in the fire pit now.
No, the manic states are the dangerous ones where you do fucked up shit. Oh, sorry. It's not the depressive states, right? It's the I was wrong. It's the manic state that's fucked up because you have a sense of like, you no longer have a sense of like being hurt, where you just like, it's like a psychotic episode. It could be, which is really interesting because like, I feel like Dave, Lil Dicky's show, did a pretty decent job of talking about it. Where Gata is bipolar. Anyway, let's keep going.
The same fire pit that you burned her in? Yeah. Okay.
Didn't burn her alive.
You didn't?
No.
No, you told me you choked her first, right?
Yeah, I choked her first. Went to his side door. I heard a train go past. So I figured that was a good time to check out the house. I had a flashlight on, my mask on. Looked at Terry in the face, smash. And I grabbed him with some rope. I could choke him. Choked him and then cut his throat.
After Derek confessed to the double homicide of the father and daughter, he then led officers to a campsite in Blairmore where he burned the toddler's body in a fire pit.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get out. We'll talk about it.
What the fuck?
I'll get your door and stuff. Here.
Okay.
So where did you take Haley?
Over here.
Whereabouts? Can you just show me? Like, just take me right there.
This was moved.
This was moved?
This was...
Damn, bro. Homies had fucking lunches and shit on there since then. That's crazy, dude. You're like having a fucking family gathering. Crazy.
Where it was.
You don't need to move it, but...
We're right here.
So you had Haley right here? Yeah. Okay, so what did you do?
There, yeah.
What did you do first?
I started stocking the fire pile with books. A whole bunch of books till I got the fire decently going and put some wood on it. Then I choked her over there.
Where? You want to take
Over
me?
there, about.
You just take me to the spot?
He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of indignity to a human body in relation to Haley's death. He made his first court appearance 7 days later, where 2 consecutive psychiatric assessments were ordered to see if he was mentally suitable to undergo further legal proceedings. On November the 26th of 2015, he was deemed fit to stand trial. Several months later, while Derek was awaiting his next court date, DNA analysis linked him to the body of 69-year-old Hannah Mekatek, who was found in her mobile home in Alta, bludgeoned and stabbed to death just 5 days prior to the killings of Terry and Haley. He immediately confessed to her murder, according to reports, and told the police that it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and he chose her because he didn't think anyone would miss her. He remained in a high-security unit of the Lethbridge Correctional Center until the start of his trial on June 7, 2017.
Why would he possibly plead not guilty to these 3 murders? And after sitting in that courtroom for so long, you have a theory on that.
Yeah, I do. And I do have to reiterate that it is my personal theory, but it's my perception that he wanted these details aired, and that is why he pleaded not guilty, because if he had pleaded guilty, none of these details would have come out. So what the jury heard was that in his apartment they found a book called The Serial Book of Serial Killers, and in his backpack they found pages torn from that book. Upon further investigation on my own part, I realized that the story detailed on those pages torn out was the story of Edward Gain, who was a murderer in the earlier 1900s. And what he did has inspired horror movies such as Psycho and Silence of the Lambs. So as far as I can tell from what I've seen and heard throughout this trial, imitation was really his motive for all of this, and notoriety was his goal in pleading not guilty.
The Crown submitted that all the talk of the devil and God making him commit the crimes was Derek consciously setting the groundwork for a potential insanity defense, and that the murders of Terry and Haley were meticulously planned, right down to the location of where he destroyed the child's body. They also argued that the killing of Hannah Mekatek was a practice run for the double homicide that followed, and that all three of the victims were mere pawns in the defendant's thrill-killing venture once they became known to him through his father's dry cleaning.
I'm sorry, bro. He was fucking faking it.
Cleaning business.
I feel like anytime somebody says like the devil made me do it, it's like an automatic self-report. You know what I mean? Anytime someone's like, oh yeah, oh shit, dude, oh fuck, the devil made me do it, it's like, oh, dude, you're straight up just saying this because you want to do an insanity plea.
The prosecutor also stated that a sexual motive behind the child's murder was a very likely possibility, yet couldn't be proven by a medical examiner due to the amount of damage done to her body. A jury found him guilty on all charges after 21 days and rendered him a life sentence without the possibility of parole for 75 years. He currently resides at the maximum security Edmonton Institution in southern Alberta. He has yet to receive a single visit from a friend or family member. From Australian county towns to schools in Ireland and cities across the United States, the Catholic Church has faced an avalanche of child abuse accusations in the last few decades. High-profile cases and harrowing testimony given to public inquiries have continued to keep the issue in the headlines. Although some accusations date—
Oh no. Oh shit, boys. Oh shit. This is a matinee. This is a double whammy. Oh, he's coming after the Catholic Church. Uh-oh. The final boss of pedophilia. This is going to be, oh no.
Date back to the 1950s, molestation by priests was first given significant media attention in the 1980s in the US and Canada. In the 1990s, the issue began to grow as revelations began of historical abuse in Argentina, Australia, and Ireland. By the early 2000s, church sexual abuse was a major global story. Determined reporting exposed widespread atrocities and how pedophile priests were moved around by church leaders instead of being held accountable. It prompted people to come forward across the United States and from around the world. A church-commissioned report in 2004 said more than 4,000 Roman Catholic priests had faced sexual abuse allegations in the last 50 years, in cases involving more than 10,000 children. Few topics elicit more emotion and anger from society than the sexual crimes committed by members of the church. Although many blame the abuse scandals on homosexuality among the clergy, same-sex attraction does not make priests more likely to sexually abuse children, according to psychological studies. Most of the clerical abuse perpetrators are what's known as situational.
The best part about that is like, oh fuck, were we just doing like pedophilia and overlooking it and hiding it all the time? Well, let's just fucking toss in like, it's like a Ted Bundy last second Hail Mary, pun intended, where he's like, I'm gonna fucking die anyway, might as well blame it on porn. And it's like, they're like, you know, we got caught, but it's, they were gay. You know, that's why. That's the reason. It's like, yeah, just, when you're caught, just, you know, use that as an opportunity to to mobilize against another fucking opponent that you have of the church, the gays. It's some real evil shit, dude. Real evil shit.
Generalists. This is a term used to describe an individual who turns to children as a sexual substitute due to their psychological and emotional difficulties in bonding with peers. They do not have a specific sexual preference for youth, but can't develop negotiated and intimate relationships with adults. Therefore, they seek readily available victims. Young boys have historically, though by no means exclusively, been a target for many clerical abusers. Priests, for the most part, have had access to boys much more so than girls, and this proximity has led to the erroneous correlation between homosexuality and clerical abuse. In the most recent of these cases, Cardinal George Pell was convicted of abusing two 13-year-old choir boys in 1996. He was Australia's highest-ranking Catholic, and was previously the Vatican treasurer, meaning he was widely seen as the church's third most powerful official. A 9-minute segment of his interrogation was released by the West Melbourne Police Department, and is now likely to be used in many forensic psychology classes due to the plethora of deceitful kinesics displayed by the suspect during the questioning procedure. The released footage begins at the moment the investigator is clarifying the events leading up to the first alleged assault on the two boys, which took place in...
Or he was like, this is the boss. He's literally the boss of pedophilia. Like, the higher ranked you are, the more you get away with it.
His cathedral's living quarters. It's important to note that the cardinal was only notified that he was being called in for questioning regarding a prior incident that happened after a Sunday mass, and had no further information on what he was about to be confronted with, nor if he was being accused of anything serious. The lack of transparency is a calculated measure from police in order to stop a suspect from formulating a cover story beforehand.
So, as I said, they were poking around.
No, it's not the Nameless King. It's the Shameless King. I stole that from chat. Someone in the chat actually made that joke first, but...
Which is the term that was utilised.
Well, that's an unfortunate term, but where were they poking? What do you do when you're poking around?
I take it to be that they were looking as they were walking along.
Go on.
Now they've, at this stage, they've entered a room where where it's assumed the Archbishop got changed, and your quarters within the cathedral. The room was towards the back of the cathedral, around the area where the choir sat, looking towards the back, to the right of the altar, under the western window behind it.
I'm sorry, I can't take him seriously with the fucking accent. Like, it was sorry good. I'm sorry to the Aussies. It's just like, are you fucking boys, mate? Tell me what the fuck you were doing. Are you being a nonce, mate?
Does that assist you with it in terms of that map there?
That's vaguely right.
Yeah. Okay. They've walked in, and there was a wood panelled door that's been described to a storage area within the room. Do your recollection, does the sacristy have any area such as that within it?
Well, for vestments and things.
I don't know what was ever held in there. Just
yeah, well, a lot of the vestments you get, the Archbishop's vestments.
Yes. Okay. Immediately on the left as you walk in to the room.
Now, we're in the Archbishop's sacristy or the priest's sacristy?
It could be assumed that the folding of the arms is connected with a guilty disposition, yet this type of defensive body posture is just as often correlated with truthful suspects when being questioned, especially
it's just self-comforting, right?
When confined in a pressured environment. The main observation at this stage of the interrogation would be the cardinal's elevated and imperious demeanor. He gives off a domineering propensity as if he's looking down on the detective. This would be due to the suspect's occupation. For the past several decades, he would have been idolized and venerated by his subordinates and advocates on a daily basis. This is most likely the first confrontational situation the cardinal has experienced for the better part of half a century.
Presumed from these gentlemen, it was the Archbishop sacristy.
Yeah.
I set up wires.
And what was supposed to be in these cupboards?
They found some wine in there.
That's right. Well, that's not in the Archbishop's sacristy.
Okay. Yes.
There is a formidable safe, which is in the...
Hey guys, Who's that guy? That's an unusual sight in JCS videos. Wait, oh, that's one of the detectives? I thought that was his attorney. Actually, I guess if it was his attorney, that he would literally be like, no, my client is not gonna fucking answer your questions, mate. It is his attorney? Oh. Why isn't he cutting in to be like, he's not gonna fucking talk, mate?
The priest's sacristy, where the wine was locked. When the sacristy was opened, it was always supervised by the sacristan or his assistant.
The Cardinal firmly asserts that the area in question is always supervised. He wasn't asked, yet goes out of his way to make the statement, coordinated with a self-assured change in forward-leaning posture and intrepid eye contact. In his mind, he has already refuted the allegation, hence the confident body movement. The detective, however, will have noticed that the suspect just tried to refute an allegation before it was even stated. An innocent subject wouldn't have known what the accusation was, therefore wouldn't have known that the incident in question would be invalidated by another member of the church being present, and wouldn't have felt the need to bring it up with such conviction.
Okay, so there was a position for someone to supervise. Was there the sacristan?
The sacristan was always there.
I'll go on with what's been alleged. So they've found the wine and started to take a few switch
This
back
is
and forwards.
after Mass.
Yes, correct. Yes, after Mass on a Sunday morning. That's when the information you have, as you were discussing a second ago, he states that that's when Archbishop Pell came into the room.
No, that's not quite the... I never got the information that was after Mass.
No.
But after choir practice, it came through to me, I think. That's my recollection.
I think it is after choir.
After choir.
After choir.
That's
So it's...
the table you provided.
Sorry. Yeah, it's after singing choir during...
Well,
after choir. So after Mass.
I mean, let me start to roll that. Most things on this story is counterfactual. And with a bit of luck, I'll be able to get them.
Fucking counterfactual, mate. You're a crazy cunt, I'll tell you. You fucking cunt.
Straight to point by point. The first thing is that after every Mass, I would stay out at the front of the cathedral and talk to people.
These are further attempts at disproving the allegation before it's been stated. He's putting himself in a location away from the crime scene, backed up by what's known as convincing statements, in an attempt to improve the credibility of his declared alibi.
The next part of the allegation is that...
Yeah, bro, you're already giving us an alibi. We're just wondering what's going on, you know? You don't even know the allegations.
You've planted yourself, and this is all what's been alleged, okay, when I'm instead of saying alleged straight.
It sucks that the first time we're watching a fucking JCS video with a lawyer, and it's the worst lawyer in I was going to say in America, in Australia, in Australia. He's the fucking worst lawyer in Australia. Look at his fucking lawyer, dude. I'm going to fucking jail. You can't. Go to fucking jail, you can't.
Off. This is all the story. Planted yourself in a spot between these two boys and the doorway in the sacristy room.
After Sunday Mass?
Yes. Yes. And in effect prevented them from leaving the room. Now,
the detective is about to reveal the first allegation against the Cardinal. To restate the context of the situation, the two choir boys had wandered off into the back of the cathedral and had just been caught drinking the holy wine by the suspect.
The boys knew they were in a fair bit of trouble, and that at that time you've moved your robes to one side and exposed your penis.
Oh my god! Oh my god! What is this? Bro! Bro, stop, dude. Oh my god. I've never seen something like this before.
And
Wait,
had just been caught drinking the holy wine by the suspect.
The boys knew they were in a fair bit of trouble, and that at that time you've moved your robes to one side and exposed your penis.
Oh, stop it.
oh my god! Look at my fucking public defender, mate. I'm going to fucking jail, dude. What is this face? I'm going to fucking jail, dude. Oh my god. He's literally laughing. Oh no. This guy is throwing, dude. I just realized he's just like, yeah, fuck this guy. He's literally like, yeah, fuck this piece of shit. I'm just gonna throw. I'm gonna throw on purpose.
You're still at this stage standing with your back to the door.
What a load of absolute and disgraceful rubbish. Completely false. Madness.
Notice how the suspect maintained momentary eye contact, but looked down each and every time he made a refuting statement. Looking down is often linked with either deception or submission, both of which were most likely being felt by the Cardinal at this moment. A truthful subject will either maintain eye contact or avert their gaze to the side while keeping it on the same level or higher than the individual initiating the confrontation.
All sorts of people used to come to the sacristy to speak to the priest.
Yes.
The sacristans were around. The altar servers were around. They should have been on their way to...
I like that his response isn't that, like, this is a preposterous thing that you're telling me, a person who has never done that, but instead, it would be impossible. The pomposity. It would be impossible. I mean, I've tried. I mean, I've never tried, but if I were to try it, it would not be within the line of sight of many people that are walking into the church. Like, oh my god, the lawyer is sending me, dude. This guy is just fucking, he's like, oh shit, he's fucking cunt did it. That's what the lawyer is doing. No, but seriously, he's like, he's not even, why is he British? I don't know, he just sounds a little British. But he literally is like, a normal person would react to be like, that is a fucking insane thing that you're saying to me, okay? They wouldn't turn around and be like, well, logistically speaking, it is absolutely very difficult to do such a thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally debating the likelihood of being able to do that, like how hard it is.
Change their investment.
Yes. It's been alleged that you've stepped forward, grabbed by the back of his head, and forced his head down onto your penis.
In the sacristy after Mass.
Yes. And
completely false.
This has gone.
Sir, I would have you know that I am a Catholic priest, and therefore I am a gigantic homophobe. I mean, what you're suggesting is man-on-boy action. I would never do that.
On for a short period of time before let go of and grabbed his head and done the same instance, forced his head down.
What the lawyer is doing here is the, oh shit, my client is going to jail and I'm probably going to go to hell technique. Notice how the lawyer is not saying a single thing.
Down onto your penis.
Completely false.
The Cardinal was being interviewed by Detective Sergeant Christopher Reed, a 28-year veteran of the Victoria Crime Investigation Unit. He would have been perceptive to the suspect's clear mendacity, which is made evident by the following hard-headed statement.
You don't have to comment at this stage. I can continue on.
Please,
that's fine. The boys were terrified at this stage, and it's been described that holding head at this time with two hands on the back of his head before stopping, at which time he stood back. in the middle of the room beside him. It's been alleged that you've then said, take off your pants. And you've stepped up to him, knelt down, started to fondle his penis and masturbate yourself at the same time.
This is in the sacristy at the cathedral after Sunday Mass.
Yes.
Well, need I say any more? What?
Yes, you should be. As a matter of fact, you should not be saying it's logistically difficult to fuck kids in the church after Sunday Mass. What you should be saying is, holy shit, you're saying I fuck kids. That's crazy. Okay? You make it seem like you fuck kids on every other day of the week when you make that argument. Why is he trying to debate the guy? Oh my God, dude. Thank you, SMAX10 for the 10 gifted subs.
A load of garbage and falsehood and deranged falsehood. My Master of Ceremonies will be able to say that he was always with me after the ceremonies.
Yes.
Until we went back to the car park or back to the presbytery. The sacristan was around, the altar servers were around. People were coming and going. They couldn't.
Okay, this is nuts. I'm losing my mind. He like barely denies the direct accusation. Like, he denied it like once and he said absurd. And he didn't say like, no, I didn't fuck a boy. He didn't even say that directly. He just said like it's absurd to state that to state that he did this after Sunday Mass. That's it.
Couldn't have dallied too long in the sacristy because everybody, the choir master would have been keen to get away, to get them dressed and get away.
Okay. There is a further instance that's been alleged, and this is only on behalf of. Sometime after this, at least a month later, and again after church.
Now, you've got after choir.
Yes.
Does that mean after the
Guys, the kid's name is a hateful slur, okay? Just don't worry about it. It's an Australian thing.
Mass or after the choir practice? I took it after.
No, it's I gotta stop making jokes like this, okay? It's they're hiding the kid's identity because he's fucking underage, obviously. Yeah, that's why. For those of you who don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
After the choir practice.
This indication is after church, is how it's described, which is after Mass, after singing in the choir during Mass. These allegations I can state to you were not.
Well, we're about after Mass.
After Mass, yes.
Well, so much,
we're not in relation to.
That's good for me because it makes it even more fantastic and impossible.
Yeah, neither of those were in relation to after choir practice.
Good.
Okay, he states at this stage that it's been alleged that he was walking along the corridor heading back to the choir changing rooms after Mass, and still in his robes, when he was suddenly pushed against the wall by someone. Saw that it was yourself, who pinned him to the wall with one hand and moved in close and used your other hand to grab his genitals over his clothes, squeezing hard. It was a brief attack that only lasted a couple of seconds.
Well, that's completely false, and as I'll be able to demonstrate, I was out the front of the cathedral there.
Yo, he came in ready, dude. He came in ready. He's just like, before the accusations, before the allegations, he's like, I do declare I have all the defense in the world ready for you. I will demonstrate to you that my penis would never even be hard in a situation like this, and also the top of the hour is here, and it's time for a 60-second ad break. It's preposterous that he would hide the ad break into the fucking priest's testimony. But I will tell you, there is a way to avoid. Maybe not these charges the priest is having to defend. But the way to defend against the ad breaks is by using an ad block or VPN or potentially subscribing with a $5 a month subscription or with a Twitch Prime, which is free. $3.99. Yes, I will be going to hell for my crimes at the top of every hour. Called a misdirection. An ad segue. Oh my god. Okay, at least I didn't say this. Okay, that's nasty. My man said he put the ropes on the one side and revealed his ad break. If I said that, that would be fucked up. Okay? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not laughing at that, okay? I'm not laughing. That's a terrible joke that you made. Here's the ad break now.
I was always out at the front of the cathedral. I never came back with the kids.
It was later found out that the cardinal was indeed outside the front of his cathedral on the days in question. His time in that area ranged from 1 to 3 minutes according to multiple witness reports, after which he returned inside to where the infractions took place. Due to trial suppression orders, very little of what prevailed inside the courtroom has been released. There is no transcript of the trial, and a gag order has been enforced so none of the legal representatives are allowed to take interviews or release any further statements regarding the legal process that took place.
Why was there a gag order here?
All that is currently known is that a jury unanimously found George Pell guilty on 5 counts of sexual assault against children, which included the sexual penetration of a child under the age of 16.
There is evidence that on the day of the first episode...
Oh, stop it. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with Australia and Canada? Stop it. Stop. You have to stop this. This is unacceptable, dude. The Commonwealth has some of the most psychotic drip when it comes to their justice system, dude. This is worse than what the priest... Okay, no. What the fuck? No. I shouldn't have read that. Jesus Christ. Oh, fucking asshole. Listen, you wrote that in a chat where there are leftists, okay? Which means, like, humor in the form of exaggeration is unacceptable. Anyways, keep going.
Had successfully delivered Sunday Solemn Mass as Archbishop, this being a public role requiring discipline and focus. Third, in relation to the first episode, you offended over a period of minutes where there was ample opportunity for you to both reflect and to stop. On the evidence of Jay, you told the boys they were in trouble. Jay says that you all just froze. You then started moving underneath your robes. You then exposed your penis. There was thus time for reflection even at the beginning of this offending. What then occurred was sustained offending. Your sexual abuse involved multiple different activities and actions. You moved from one victim to the other. Your dialogue with the 2 victims during the first episode was both purposeful and responsive. You continued to offend with callous indifference to the victim's obvious distress and objections. At some point during the episode, you even told your victims to be quiet because they were crying. Fourth, what you did was so egregious that it is fanciful to suggest that you may not have fully appreciated this. Your graphic sexual misconduct was not of a kind where you may have misjudged its gravity. Fifth, the fact that you offended twice against Jay further undermines the explanation that your offending was but an irrational, unthinking moment of lunacy. As to what drove you to offend in such a risky and brazen manner, I infer that for whatever reason, you were in fact prepared to take on such risks. I conclude that your decision to offend was a reasoned, albeit perverted one, and I reach that conclusion to the criminal standard. To accept the argument of your counsel would mean that every offender who commits an offence which is brazen, out of character and spontaneous must be considered to have some form of mental impairment or some lapse in a capacity to reason or to think rationally. There is no basis in law or in principle for this proposition, and I reject it.
He was rendered a 6-year sentence with a non-parole period of 3 years and 8 months. He is currently the most senior Vatican official to be convicted of sex abuse to date.
Yeah, so, first of all, 6 years for serial rape of children. Kind of weird, Australia. What the fuck? But wait, there's more! Now, at the time of this video being shot, I guess the case was fresh. Or rather, JCS did not know that after serving a 1-year length of his prison sentence, George Pell, His Eminence, was acquitted. Yep. And in 2020, in the middle of COVID, the Australian government allowed George Pell to fly out to the Vatican to meet the fucking Pope, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It pays to have friends in high places. Remember, boys, I tell you all the fucking time, yo, there's still 19 minutes. No, he's moving on to a different case after this. This is the end of the case. This is these are some of the, these are like different police interrogations. And he successfully sued over the sexual abuse verdict. Victoria Supreme Court fined The Age $450,000 and News Corp more than $400,000 for contempt of court over coverage of Cardinal's initial conviction. How do you fucking like that, huh? How do you fucking like that? In Australia, if a dingo doesn't take your fucking baby, you live a cunt. You live a fucking cunt priest. All of a sudden, in the Commonwealth Olympics, Canada doesn't seem so bad. Melbourne newspaper The Age was handed the biggest penalty of $450,000, followed by News Corp outlet news.com.au, which must pay $400,000. Other 9 newspapers, including Sydney Morning Herald and the Australian Financial Review, were fined $162,000, while the Today Show was fined $30,000. The media, Dixon found, took it upon themselves to decide whether balance ought to lie between Pell's right to a fair trial and the public's right to know. Dixon rejected the media company's submission that the breaches of the suppression order was due to an honest but mistaken belief that their reporting would not contravene the order. They're called Dollary News. It's funny you don't remember QAnon saying a thing about this. Oh, that's wild, dude. Maybe because QAnon doesn't give a fuck about the Catholic Church, you know? Dude, conservatives all around the world are just the biggest scumbags, as we've already established. And your country sucks depending on how much you allow conservatives to run it. That's it. That's what the reality is. Part of the reason why America is one of the worst. By the way, the current pope is supposed to be like a lefty pope and an anti-pedophilia pope. He was acquitted by the High Court because there was a significant possibility that an innocent person has been convicted because the evidence did not establish guilt. Yeah, there's a lib pope out there. Supposed to be a communist. He was found guilty of sexual abuse charges in December 2018, although that verdict was ultimately overturned by a high court in April last year. At the time, it could not be reported on because the high-ranking Catholic official faced a second trial over a different set of allegations. The cardinal was still awaiting the second trial, which did not proceed after those charges were dropped in February 2019, when the companies published the broadcast reports that did not name him, but referred to the verdict. The suppression order was lifted once the second trial was aborted. In his full judgment, Dixon took aim at the age of the publication of I don't care about that. I want to know why he got off, and I cannot find it. Currently, we're run by a piece of shit government, conservative government with a fuck knuckle that pisses off every time the country's in fucking trouble. Combined with Rupert Murdoch owning all of our media. Go figure this happened. Yeah, he is. Pope Francis is like, he's got a hammer and sickle and shit. What is this? Gilshahan and Lutton? The tension between the complaint and opportunity evidence. The complaint allegedly the first two incidents occurred in the pre-sacristy, the robing room connected to the cathedral, immediately after Sunday Mass in late 1996. So wait, from an evidentiary perspective, though, the difficulty with this allegation was the opportunity evidence given by witnesses. Placed Pell at the front steps of the cathedral at the time the incident occurred. Placed Pell in the company of the cathedral's master ceremonies. Oh, so his counter was, his alibi was solid. It is important to observe at the outset that it is not unusual for judges on appeal to make different findings and reach different conclusions. The High Court identified several errors made by the Victorian Court of Appeal majority in its decision to dismiss Cardinal Pell's appeal and uphold the conviction. Viewing recorded evidence and making demeanor-based judgments about the complainant. The Court of Appeal took the unusual step from a criminal court of viewing video recordings of evidence of A and several witnesses nominated by Cardinal Pell's legal team in order to put itself in the closest possible position to that of the jury. Appeals court ordinarily confine themselves to reading transcripts of the evidence. Okay. So they watched a video and they shouldn't have done that, I guess. The Pope is pro-sex work. He liked the food booty pics on Instagram and it made news. What? Getting Away with It, Nail Guru Edition? Is this from is this an LSF clip or something? It's got 7,000 views. This is sounding way more complicated. It's not, dude. The reversal of the onus of proof. The majority judge in the Court of Appeal were so convinced by A's evidence that they approached the opportunity evidence on the basis of that. If it left a possibility for the offending to have occurred, A's evidence would be relied upon to be satisfied of the Cardinal Pell's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Cardinal Pell's legal team later argued in high court that this reversed the burden of proof, effectively placing the onus on Cardinal Pell to prove that the accusations made against him were impossible. They're saying that there should have been reasonable doubt. This is fucking bullshit, dude. It's important to observe that the High Court did not criticize the evidence of the complainant and in fact reached his decision assuming that the complainant's evidence was credible and reliable. Oh, okay, nice. The reasonable doubt about Cardinal Pell's guilt was created by the opportunity evidence. That's fucking bullshit. This is bullshit, dude. Yeah, we don't disagree that he might have raped. It's just that there's reasonable doubt that the jury did not take into fucking consideration. That's great. That's great, dude. Good, not corrupt system working as planned. Yeah, we'll get back to some of the stuff later. I have to fucking, there are people fiending right now in the chat. Like, it's bubbling up in the chat and I see it. Like, I see the anger in chat. I see the frustration in chat.